Khuddhaka. The Short Passages. Translated from the Pali by Thanissaro Bhikkhu. 1. Saranagamana, going for refuge. 2. Dasa Sikkhapada, the 10 training rules. 3. Thanissaro, the 32 parts. 4. Samanara Panha, the novice's questions. 5. Mangala Sutta, protection. 6. Ratana Sutta, treasures. 7. Tirokutta Kanda, hungry shades outside the walls. 8. Nidhi Kanda, the reserve fund. 9. Karaniya Metta Sutta, goodwill.
1. Saranagamana, going for refuge. I go to the Buddha for refuge. I go to the Dhamma for refuge. I go to the Sangha for refuge. A second time I go to the Buddha for refuge. A second time I go to the Dhamma for refuge. A second time I go to the Sangha for refuge. A third time I go to the Buddha for refuge. A third time I go to the Dhamma for refuge. A third time I go to the Sangha for refuge. 2. Dasa Sikkhapada, the 10 training rules.
I undertake the training rule to refrain from taking life. I undertake the training rule to refrain from stealing. I undertake the training rule to refrain from sexual intercourse. I undertake the training rule to refrain from telling lies. I undertake the training rule to refrain from intoxicating fermented distilled beverages that lead to carelessness. I undertake the training rule to refrain from eating at the wrong time, afternoon before dawn. I undertake the training rule to refrain from dancing, singing, music, watching shows. I undertake the training rule to refrain from wearing garlands and beautifying myself with perfumes, cosmetics. I undertake the training rule to refrain from high luxurious seats, beds. I undertake the training rule to refrain from accepting gold money.
3. Thanissaro, the 32 parts. In this body there is hair of the head, hair of the body, nails, teeth, skin, muscle, tendons, bones, bone marrow, spleen, heart, liver, membranes, kidneys, lungs, large intestines, small intestines, gorge, feces, gall, phlegm, lymph, blood, sweat, fat, tears, oil, saliva, mucus, oil in the joints, urine, brain. 4. Samanara Panha, the novice's questions. What is one? All animals subsist on food. There are these 4 nutriments for the establishing of beings who have taken birth or for the support of those in search of a place to be born. Which 4? Physical food, gross or refined, contact as the second, consciousness the third, and intellectual intention the fourth. SN 12.64.
What is 2? Name form. Mental physical phenomena. What is 3? The 3 types of feeling. Pleasant, painful, neither pleasant nor painful. What is 4? The 4 noble truths. Stress, the origination of stress, the cessation of stress, the path of practice leading to the cessation of stress. What is 5? The 5 aggregates. Form, feeling, perception, fabrications, consciousness. What is 6? The 6 internal sense media. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, intellect. What is 7? The 7 factors of awakening. Mindfulness, analysis of qualities, persistence, rapture, serenity, concentration, equanimity. What is 8? The Noble Eightfold Path. Right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. What is 9? The 9 abodes for beings.
7 stations of consciousness and 2 spheres. There are beings with diversity of body and diversity of perception, such as human beings, some devas, and some beings in the lower realms. This is the first station of consciousness. There are beings with diversity of body and singularity of perception, such as the devas of the Brahma hosts generated by the first, jhana. This is the second station of consciousness. There are beings with singularity of body and diversity of perception, such as the radiant devas. This is the third station of consciousness. There are beings with singularity of body and singularity of perception, such as the beautifully lustrous devas. This is the fourth station of consciousness.
There are beings who, with the complete transcending of perceptions of physical form, with the disappearance of perceptions of resistance, and not heeding perceptions of diversity, thinking, infinite space, arrive at the sphere of the infinitude of space. This is the fifth station of consciousness. There are beings who, with the complete transcending of the sphere of the infinitude of space, thinking, infinite consciousness, arrive at the sphere of the infinitude of consciousness. This is the sixth station of consciousness. There are beings who, with the complete transcending of the sphere of the infinitude of consciousness, thinking, there is nothing, arrive at the sphere of nothingness. This is the seventh station of consciousness. The sphere of non-percipient beings and, second, the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. These are the two spheres. Mahanidana Siddhanta, DN 15.
What is 10? Endowed with 10 qualities, one is called an arahant. The right view of one beyond training, the right resolve of one beyond training, the right speech of one beyond training, the right action of one beyond training, the right livelihood of one beyond training, the right effort of one beyond training, the right mindfulness of one beyond training, the right concentration of one beyond training, the right knowledge of one beyond training, the right release of one beyond training. Mahakatarasaka Sutta, MN 117. 5. Mangala Sutta, Protection. I have heard that at one time the Blessed One was staying in Savatthi at Jita's Grove, Anathapindika's park. Then a certain Deva, in the far extreme of the night, her extreme radiance lighting up the entirety of Jita's Grove, approached the Blessed One. On approaching, having bowed down to the Blessed One, she stood to one side. As she stood to one side, she addressed him with a verse.
Many devas and humans beings. Give thought to protection. Desiring well-being. Tell, then, the highest protection.
The Buddha. Not consorting with fools. Consorting with the wise. Paying homage to those worthy of homage. This is the highest protection. Living in a civilized land. Having made merit in the past. Directing oneself rightly. This is the highest protection. Broad knowledge, skill. Well-mastered discipline. Well-spoken words.
This is the highest protection. Support for one's parents. Assistance to one's wife and children. Consistency in one's work. This is the highest protection. Generosity, living in rectitude. Assistance to one's relatives. Deeds that are blameless. This is the highest protection. Avoiding, abstaining from evil. Refraining from intoxicants. Being heedful of the qualities of the mind. This is the highest protection. Respect, humility. Contentment, gratitude. Hearing the Dhamma on timely occasions.
This is the highest protection. Patience, composure. Seeing contemplatives. Discussing the Dhamma on timely occasions. This is the highest protection. Austerity, celibacy. Seeing the noble truths. Realizing unbinding.
This is the highest protection. A mind that, when touched by the ways of the world, is unshaken, sorrowless, dustless, secure. This is the highest protection. Everywhere undefeated. When acting in this way, people go everywhere in well-being. This is their highest protection. 6. Ratana Sutta, Treasures. Whatever spirits have gathered here, on the earth, in the sky,